So, hello and welcome to one more of Leadoo's product webinars. My name is Jemmy. I run our marketing operations here at Leadoo Marketing Technologies, and this is also why I'm running this webinar today instead of our head of product and founder, Mikael. Not to keep anyone sitting on the edge of their chairs any longer than necessary, let's jump to the topic of the day, which is optimizing your marketing budget with marketing attribution. So let's start and let's go over a couple of housekeeping things first. So with marketing attribution, we mean the process and the modeling that helps you to understand and model the whole conversion journey for your website visitors. From start to finish, covering all the small steps and tracks along the way. When you know the conversion journey, you understand how your website visitors work, so to say. Where do they come from? What interests them? What are they doing? What kind of little tidbits they leave behind? It is a lot easier, of course, to do the budgeting and allocate your budget to where it matters. I compiled 3 little information nuggets to start with. These insights have been drawn out from our previous webinars, from the poll tools we often use. And 79% of people answering this specific poll that was about measuring the customer journeys and buyers' journeys, 79% said that they can't complement their capabilities when it comes to measuring the buyer's journeys. And I think quite many can relate to this because quite often the measuring can be a little tricky. You might need several tools. You might be able to effectively track just the very end part of the whole journey. And 3 out of 4 says that they can't measure the buyer's journeys, which most likely will show in results as well. Since if you cannot measure the journey effectively, it will be, and it is extremely difficult to do the right actions, focus on the right things, and allocate budget to the right channels. 67% of people answering this particular poll said that, of course, clear strategy for measuring would bring a lot of help. Knowing what to measure, when to measure, and then by extension, what to do with this information, what to do with the data, how to turn the data into insights and insights into revenue. And practically the other half of people answering the poll said that they are just lacking the tools to do the measuring effectively. And I think yet again, for most marketers especially, this is something that we have struggled with, or we actively struggle with in our day-to-day jobs, since we have different platforms, we have different kinds of analytics tools, and all of the different platforms function under different kinds of rules set by this specific platform. And when we put it together with this, B2B buyers will prefer not to talk to sales reps in this Forrester forecast. And this ties directly into the fact that when our buyers become more independent, they have very different kinds of needs throughout their buyer's journeys. And the buyer's journeys are way more independent and the customer driven than they were a few years back. And of course, this has pushed companies to adapt to this change. And whereas companies, I believe, sincerely do their best to be able to serve the customers with the most customer-centric way they can with the tools they have, measuring isn't there yet for most companies. And if the measuring isn't there, it means the optimization isn't there, budget allocations aren't there. It's a repeating cycle. How buyers consider having like the best perfect buying experience, it starts with, of course, personalized engagement, since we live in a world of data, and us, when we are customers, we know that the company has a ton of information about us already when we just start our buyer's journey. So we expect to have the personalized engagement, customer-centric content, tailor-made experiences from the start. We value the actual value creation and the trust building parts of the journey as well. It ties into with being personal, actually providing the potential customers with what they need, delivering the content in a white glove manner, when and where and how it matters the most for this specific customer. These like points 2 and 3, so value creation and trust, if we draw these out on the actual buyer's journey map, of course, these will extend throughout the whole period of the journey, but these are particularly important in the first phases. But quite often, these are also tricky to measure, the first phases, after the initial page view, for example. But when we get to lead conversion, this is something that most companies are able to do fairly well. And this is where most budgets get often allocated, because this is the easiest thing to prove. We can prove it by numbers. We had this many lead conversions. So it is, because of this, the thing we tend to lean towards on with all of our actions. Then, of course, during the buyer's journey and the perfect buying experience, the empowered sales discussions. So here, yet again, using the information we have about the customer and providing the customer with the best possible interactions with the salespeople when they get to that part. And of course, also another thing that companies measure would be the deal conversion. Fairly straightforward to measure as well, and lead conversions and deal conversions are also usually at least somehow tied together, so the revenue aspect can be proven, at least to some extent. But considering how many steps the buyers will have before they want to talk to sales, before they want to convert, it's tricky. And the marketing funnel and the measuring and the challenges in the measuring are the things that are effectively working against the perfect buying experience. Since if we do not effectively measure every step of the way, we are going to provide the customers with uninspired and non-relevant offers. We are going to lack personalization. We are not going to make it easy for the customers to convert with us, be in touch, engage with us. Then there might be long delays and very little visibility for the customer of like what's happening next. What is the thing that is going to happen next after I did something? And this is very, very, very tricky. Customers do leave a huge footprint during their visits. So why is it that we aren't following that trail to its most useful extent? And why is effective measuring still so difficult? Because measuring needs to account for multiple things at once. On the very rough illustration on the left-hand side, it explains like the key differences also in the buying behavior during the past 15 or so years. It has been a lot more straightforward in the beginning times of, for example, Meta ads platform, previously Facebook ads. But now, fast forward to this day and to today's buyers, they are bombarded with messages, irrelevant, uninspiring, channel in, channel out. It's going to be ad here, ad there. And they will have multiple touch points with your company throughout ads, through other content consumption, be it webinars, blogs, case study reads. However, they might meet you at a fair or at any kind of other event, and then visit your website, leave, come back 30 days later. It's a lot of stuff happening at once. So today, what needs to be accounted for when considering what should be measured and what kind of things would actually effectively help you as representative of your company to get more of your website visitors' buyers' journeys? So at least visitor source, extremely important. Sessions, how many times do they visit? Individual page visits and which pages they did go through. Activities on page, if there's any activation tools, conversion tools, any other things you can like pin down. Time between visits, and then of course time to conversion. Very, very important to know these things as well. Of course, then the conversion needs to be accounted for, and the conversion source needs to be accounted for. Things that would be great to have would be conversion type. So would it be on the softer side, for example, newsletter sign up, webinar sign up, some gated content download, or is it then demo request, offer request, customer support, form fill, whatever it is, it should be somehow available for you relatively easily, because it will make a difference when you understand what types of conversions come from the lists of the accounted for sources and sessions and so on. And of course, the value. Sometimes the type already tells that this is a lower value, not always. So at least like internally understanding what kind of a value we are assigning to these conversions. And then for sales and marketing, the CRM data sync. So sales would have some insight, and preferably real-time insight into their prospects' behavior on your website. They might be even accessible, like they might be even able to check what your or what their prospects are doing on the website, what kind of actions they're having, how many sessions, page visits, and so on. Because this then enables them to be very well informed, considering the very personalized sales experience you want to provide for your customers. This probably sounds like, oh yes, makes the world of sense, exactly what we need. So why is it difficult? Because there's a lot of measuring points, different kinds of things to, as we went through, different kinds of things to take into account, and different stages we need to understand. We need to be able to see the different changes, and then we need to do something with this information. And this is where it gets tricky, because journeys are shown differently between different tools. And in most cases, this is something that still you need to compare with other platforms. So, okay, for example, in this case, Google Analytics has this attribution functionality. It's stated that it's in beta, but they have it. And it works by last click idea. And here is also how in the picture it explains how it calculates the conversion credit. Challenges with this would be that we have no actions. We don't know what the visitor did. We don't know the fullest extent of the story. We have no further information. We have no channel information. We have no visiting company data, no further visitor data, no cross-linked profiles, nothing. We have a very, very narrow view on what might be happening and how Google counts it. So, this being said, we might need to check into other platforms to understand maybe a little better. So, okay, we have from paid search, we have from social, we have from wherever these conversions coming from. Let's check. Let's try to understand how is it working. Okay, then we go to meta ads to check, like, okay, this campaign, this ad set has provided 126 conversions. Amazing, cool, really good. It still doesn't give us the visibility to the journey before the conversion. So we could actually make sure that it's attributing these correctly. And then again, now we would need to go to another tool, if we have one, trying to understand that, okay, what happened? What happened before they converted through seemingly meta ads? What has happened afterwards? What does the journey look like? And here is also why I understand that specific types of paid campaigns especially get a bad rep, since if we cannot effectively prove that this campaign brings us value, especially considering like branded campaigns that are not trying to reach the maximum amount of conversions on the first or second try and touch point, why should we allocate money to such campaigns? Why can't we just focus on the direct conversion campaigns with direct incentives, with direct measuring capabilities? And unfortunately, this will make marketing teams focus on running after these kinds of goals instead of actually also building and generating demand, building a strong, viable brand, because the measuring has been so difficult, unprovable. We haven't been able to put the proof in the pudding in a way that would effectively translate to C-suite. So what should we do? We need to consider what kind of data do we believe and what kind of information we are willing and we want to base our business decisions on. Unbiased data is extremely important. And by unbiased, I mean, for example, ad platforms do have incentive to show that these conversions came from our platform. They don't need to show the whole journey before that. They need to show that the conversion came from our platform. So we are going to continue on their platform. We are still going to create ads on these platforms. So unbiased data makes a world of sense. And this is why we created a bunch of our analytics tools here at Leadoo, but especially Source Insights. And this is where we are able to truly bring together a whole 9 yards of the whole journey and measuring the whole journey within one platform. On the left-hand side, when we consider the start of the journey and the visitors who have also converted on their first visit on your site, we see that in this case, 23% of these visitors that converted also during their first visit came from LinkedIn. And this allows us already to start digging deeper into this one. Okay, with what did they convert? What kind of conversion, what type, what kind of value, what kind of follow-up cases? It gives us a way better actionable insight to the website visitors than any other platform comparatively could. Going forward, we can see that, okay, if they didn't convert on the first try, how about then the nurturing visits? And in this case, most of them came through direct traffic. So we were able to create a strong enough impact. We were easy enough to be found too. So it matters. And in this case, and especially in this case, when we are able to address the returning visitors and making sure that they feel personalized, that they feel that we are truly creating a personalized experience for them, we are able to use that to our advantage, create more engagement points, more activities and action points on the page that we can effectively measure, of course, but also push them towards conversion and providing them meaningful, personalized conversion points considering their journey. And for example, in this case, we could personalize based on the source as well. So someone comes from LinkedIn, we can personalize the discussion for them. Someone comes through Facebook, same thing. Is it a new or a returning visitor? Same thing. And of course, last touch, the end part of the journey, which is usually the one that gets the biggest focus, the biggest budget also. We can see that, okay, our visitors who then converted on this step, they came through LinkedIn, Facebook, direct, and then we are able to navigate it further and see what actions, what kind of things, what kind of conversions. Yet again, same things, but they are actually accessible. And the data is something that can be immediately worked with. Of course, sources are one thing. Having a little bit more insights into what the journeys look like is equally important, because it can also create future goals, other absolutely business critical insights. And in this case, we can look the bigger picture. And for example, here we see that nearly 90% of the visitors converted during the first session. Cool, brilliant. It took 2 events, 1 page visit, boom, done. Beautiful. Then we see that the rest of the conversions, it took them at least 2 sessions, at least like median 4 events. It took them 169 days. So it's a lot. And this brings us to the next point of setting goals based on actual data, making sure that we are truly making the most out of the information we have. And we're not only focusing on the amount of traffic or do we have what kind of ratio between new and returning visitors, but we would put a little bit more emphasis on the buyer's journeys and then build also the marketing related goals based on this, since it will help also with the budget allocations. And in this case, you can see that the amount of days needed before conversion has been highlighted. And why is this important? And why this is important here? Considering the goals marketing can set, which then ties into the budget allocations, channel decisions, all of these things. This can be something that we can try to reduce. We can set a goal that, okay, we want to cut the median time needed for conversion. We want to cut it to 130. Because these things do actually have, as we know, a huge ripple effect. In this case, if we are able to cut 1 month, a little bit over 1 month from the time to conversion, it means that our sales teams will get the leads faster. Usually means they will also get more leads because we have needed to consider the actions for reducing the time to conversion based on the behavior, based on the channels, based on the information we have today. So we can easily expect that with the shortened time to conversion, we might also expect some increase in conversions going hand in hand. So this is definitely something to truly consider, and also check into on the journey, like individual journey insights level, if that would be also something of interest. For me, as a marketer and as a person running our own marketing ops, this is the whole Source Insights and the other analytics tools we have inside our platform are golden. They make my work a lot easier. And I understand this is now biased information, but the product has been actually built by end users and end users' jobs to be done in mind. It has been built like by marketers for marketers, so to say. And actually to solve problems, not to create new ones. And now it does actually solve a problem for myself. I don't have to jump across 4, 5, 6 different data platforms and trying to puzzle together what this means with this information. What can I get there? Are they even, do these data points have some relation? Is there some correlations I'm not seeing, or I'm not just getting because I'm trying to piece it together, and it looks like it looks more like arts and crafts project than a reliable data management, so to say. So this is why, coming from my biased opinion, Source Insights and the other analytics tools that Leadoo platform have been absolutely crucial also for our team. And it also allows us to check data that actually matters. So as we remember in the Google Analytics attribution example, it had a lot of things. And at the same time, funnily enough, very little of value. And they don't have, like, if you are very proficient with Google Analytics, you are able to drill down a little. But I still prefer to have stuff in one platform and check the things that do matter, in this case for myself. So let's have an actual look quickly inside the platform. I'll share the other tab really quickly. And there we go. So as we went through, there was a lot of things already that we can look at in this view currently. But now we can check, for example, based on some filters, what kind of information we're able to get, what kind of filters we do have, and how to use them. So first of all, I'd be curious to understand from September to today what is going on. And I could check based on some UTM parameters right here. I could check based on sources as well. I could add multiple if I would so wish. Same for the UTMs. Maybe page visits could be something of interest. Has visited a page that contains, also a secret favorite of mine. But in this case, I'm actually curious to know based on bot categories, because our conversion tools work with specific categories, and this allows us to work differently between different categories. So let's type here online event, and it shows, okay, this many conversions, this many converted immediately, and this many converted later. And we're able to see the first, mid, and last touch, which tells us that, okay, there are specific things that work the best, specific channels that are clearly the most effective for us or have been within this time period. Choosing the time period allows me to understand, of course, like, okay, within this time period, we did these actions, we ran these campaigns. So it seems that we got most of our direct conversions from LinkedIn, Facebook. Absolutely brilliant. Let's drill in a little deeper, even to individual conversion journey level, and then see like what's been happening. And going down on this like higher level journey insights section, we see that, okay, the ones that didn't convert like on the spot took quite long to convert. And now it says it took 193 days. And this is very interesting why it took so long. But now that we know, and we know that also in our last touch phase, LinkedIn and Facebook do still act a big part, we can start really digging deeper into the individual journeys to understand also what kind of challenges there might be. Is the approach not personalized enough? Are the pages where they're landing, are they not actually meeting what they are looking for? Or what else? Because there is something that makes the 193 days appear to be 193 days. So having all of this information and then being able to work with company identification data, deeper campaign insights data, the journey insights on like individual buyers' journeys. It gives a lot, and it gives a lot of very, very unbiased or like not ad platform first information into your website visitors, their behavior, and by this, of course, it's a valuable business insight for you, considering how to allocate the marketing budget, where to put it on which phase of the buyer's journey, to what kind of buyers, and how to, with this information also, how to empower your sales teams to provide even more personalized and more meaningful sales contacts and experiences for your customers, and how to turn then your customers your best advocates. And from my perspective, you need to be able to measure these kinds of things when you are turning your website into your best performing sales channel, because this will take out the blind spots, this will take out the guesswork, and this will take out the unnecessary pressure from other teams around you asking you to prove your value, because you will have everything in actual numbers, in actionable format, to really, really make your website your best performing sales channel. But thank you so much for spending the time now here with myself. If you have any further questions later on, you can connect with me in LinkedIn. You will find me by the name Jemmi Laninen, or you can just go and follow also our company's LinkedIn page, so you will get all of the new cool updates we are putting to our LinkedIn feed. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you got some brain tickling insight from this webinar, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you and have a great day.